Hi, I'm Professor Green, and today we're going to be talking about group deliverable number 2. So as you know, group deliverable number 1 was all about the problem and the opportunity, the need, the geography, the beneficiary, the customer, the usage situation. You also did your startup enterprise for good, your mission, your objectives, your business for good code, and your trade-offs and synergies you talked a little bit about. Now we're going to be talking about the solution. So really jumping into what actually you'd like to create. And that's going to be the last piece, the sustainable product design. Before we get to that, I really want to understand how you got to that design. What type of research did you do? What type of information did you gain during your research? And so there are going to be a couple of slides on both the bottom-up immersion and the marketplace insights. So let's go into those slides and we'll talk a little bit about what those slides need to look like. First, as you know, there are going to be 1 or 2 slides per part. The bottom-up immersion piece, you're going to create the means and then your actual learnings. So what are the means? How did you collect this information? And then what did you actually get out of that information? Same thing for the marketplace insights, your sources, whether that be the virtual interviews or other sources. What did you learn from that? And then, as I mentioned, finally, your last portion of the deliverable will be the design. And first, I actually want to see all the ideas that you generated, and then the detail of what you actually chose for your solution. So let's look at some examples. First, that bottom-up immersion. If we look at the example for the mosquito net, you'll see the means are here on the left-hand side and the learnings are on the right-hand side. So the means are, again, how did you get that information? Many of you will just cut and paste this piece, but detail, what did you learn from the image-based immersion exercises? What did you learn from the video-based immersion exercises? We did those in class, and then you also did those as a homework assignment. You did a poverty simulation with Professor Duncan. What did you learn from listening to him and going through those exercises, taking those surveys about what the people should do in those types of dire situations? Then you probably did your own research, right? We spoke to Jose Rincon from the library. Maybe there was other multimedia, journal articles, videos that you watched, etc. So how did you get the information? And then what did you learn here? On the other side of the slide, you're going to have your learnings. In the mosquito net example, they have the conditions within the homes. They learned a lot about what it was like to live inside a home in Africa. They learned that there were lack of healthcare infrastructure pieces put into place. There was a negative impact of malaria. The videos and the photos talked a lot about how malaria was spreading very, very quickly. The conditions conducive to malaria-carrying mosquitoes. Even I talked a little bit about, right, how I had a friend who had malaria when he lived in Panama, and he said it was one of the worst experiences of his life. So you can use that, my personal testimony, as part of your research. Then you have your second piece of your deliverable, the marketplace insights. Again, one piece of it is going to be your sources. This can be your virtual interviews. This can be, internet searches. Maybe this will still be the photos and the videos that we went through in class or that are posted on Brightspace. What did you find? What were your insights? We want to find the results of your research. Here for the mosquito net example, they have a lack of awareness of how malaria is caused. People just don't really understand how they get malaria. Education for us in the developed world, it's very simple to understand, but for them, they might be confused or just not have the right information. There's a lack of understanding of conditions conducive to mosquitoes. They don't realize that having dirty water or fruit laying around, decaying food and things like that might cause the mosquitoes to come into the house. There's a lack of trust due to experience with deceptive or harmful products. We've heard of that. We'll hear about that as well during your virtual interviews potentially, or maybe research. You can Google Nestle and their involvement in Africa. And unfortunately, they were at points somewhat deceptive. Willingness to pay the premium, particularly for children's health. Right, children can be very healthy, so they don't want to necessarily pay extra Just like, I don't want to pay life insurance or, health insurance sometimes for my child, that they feel the same way. And of course, I do pay those things, but sometimes it's hard to, the child is not contributing to the household. Direct experience with malaria and its negative impact. And then we have our sustainable product design. This is where you brainstorm ideas. Before the mosquito net got to their final product, they came up with ideas like a lotion, a coil, a lamp, a barrier spray, finally the nets and the mosquito traps. So tell us what else you thought of when you were doing your research, right? People, when they come up with products, they spend 90% of their time brainstorming and researching, and really 10% actually developing the product, they say. And then finally, what is your sustainable product design? The detailed chosen solution, some details about that. It's low cost, it's effective, it's durable, it's eco-friendly, it's safe. Tell me about the product. Then you're going to have a slide that maybe has a picture of the product and maybe some illustrations as to, what it does. Maybe talk a little bit more about the solution. You're going to have the packaging with some education, right? This is all coming directly from your research. You're connecting now your research to your actual product. And that's it. So I will leave you another video with details about the second example, the software product for the learning technology, but I wanted to take you through the details with mosquito net, MOSNet. All right, thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing your group deliverables number 2.